Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and it's a special episode. Special episode. I'm joined for the first time by both these people. Tavares Pennington, what is up? It's been a while.
It has. I'm back. I make my infamous return.
Putting the penny back in the Penny Bloom.
Yeah.
Been at it for a minute. I'm like, man, I miss my penny.
No, yeah, I know. It was tough going there. You know, I had the semester to finish up, and then I just had some personal stuff, and I'm glad to be back.
I'm glad you are back. You know, we last time we were together, I believe we were talking Zack Snyder's Justice League, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah. We still got to get the projector showing of that one.
Oh, we'll have a big showing for that one. It will include my friend Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What is up? It's an honor to be here. I'm along with the two co-owners of the show, might I say. It
is a pleasure to have you, Joe. You've came in big in these last 9 months, and today's special. This episode marks 2 years of the Penny Bloom Podcast, and it is also the 100th episode. 100 episodes.
And Count Dooku's birthday and graduation.
Yeah, we graduated 3 years ago today, by the way.
Wait, today?
Yeah, 3 years ago today we graduated. 2 years ago today we started the podcast.
A year ago today, SpaceX sent the first two humans up in space by a private company. I know this day's pretty cool.
And today we celebrate.
Today we celebrate.
Speaking
of birthdays, it's Christopher Lee's birthday. Actor who played Count Dooku, been in Lord of the Rings, the Bond series. Me and Joe talked about him a lot on our on our other shows this week. Also the birthday of Andre Benjamin, Andre 3000. A fantastic day. Also the birthday of one Paul Bettany, Vision. It's a fucking great day, fellas.
It is a great day.
It's a good day to start this podcast.
We chose the best day to start.
We chose a good day.
We chose a good fucking day. And, I like to think back to May 27th, 2019. Think about what was, going on then, pop culturally. You know what I'm saying? So, May 27th.
The world has changed.
Yeah, I got a list here for you. May 27th, 2019, Avengers Endgame was only 1 month old. It was still in theaters. Game of Thrones had concluded 1 week earlier. And that was the largest subject of one of our first episodes, actually. Deep dive into Game of Thrones. I believe it was our second episode. The Star Wars Skywalker saga had not ended. The Mandalorian had not begun. And Tavares, another one of our first episode topics, Igor, had just released 10
still a great album.
Fucking phenomenal album. I remember Igor. I remember Tyler tweeting about it and being like, "Don't do yourself a disservice here. Listen to this with both your headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Go outside and just experience this shit."
He wrote a whole letter. I think he wrote a whole letter about a thing with I think it was in the booklet of the album, if I remember, where he was just like get rid of all distractions, just focus on this.
Yes.
And I had nothing else to do. I think my roommate had moved out that day or something, and I was just laying in my dorm room alone, kind of sad. So that's what I did.
I feel you. And that probably picked you up a little bit.
It did.
Igor's a good fucking album. I remember I went for a walk, like he said in the letter. Both headphones in, full blast. Just wanted to experience it. And, he created the feeling.
He created it. We just had to feel it.
And that was the topic of our very first episode, titled, You Gotta Create a Feeling.
Got to.
Wow.
He did it. He did that shit. It was fucking phenomenal.
And now we talk about how murdering people is a very large adrenaline rush, Like the how far we've come.
Oh, look how far we've come. Joe, the addition of Miles, Kyler, and yourself back in September of 2020 has done nothing short of invigorated the show in an entirely new way. I will say
that's a very nice way to put it. Yeah,
the shit we can talk about there gets a little wacky compared to what me and George talk about.
We may have ruined the credibility of the show, but we keep it exciting. You never know what's going to pop up.
You never know, and that's the beauty of podcasts.
There might be a 25 to 30-minute discussion about what is the most not disgusting word for semen.
That's
true.
Know. And we had that conversation. We did.
And on patreon.com/CoRoBloom.
Kind of insane. We take the conversations that people don't want to have, and we have them. Okay?
Yeah, Jogurt. Speaking of that conversation, Jogurt.
It's
that's
one
bad.
of the only good things about being named Joe. Because Joe kind of sucks. Because you're the average Joe, not good.
It's John Doe, not Joe Don.
Joe isn't. It's just Joe.
It's just Joe, but Jogurt.
The combination, Jogurt. I've only used it once in real life, out loud to another person. Didn't. I got a laugh, but let's just say, me and that person don't talk anymore ever.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
If you ever refer to your Jogurt, ever, it's inappropriate.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Joe, I have a question.
Okay.
Can you give me a guess as to what the number one song in the world would have been May 27th, 2019?
Give me a hint on the artist.
Just released a
Miley Cyrus.
There's just released a controversial music video.
Old Town Road
remix with Billy Ray Cyrus. Yes. That was the number one song in the world when we started.
That was before we knew he was even that was before we knew Lil Nas was gay.
It was.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That changed the world right there. Honestly, that was like...
Dude, I mean, Lil Nas X is pretty much the best pop star on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah, right now he's huge. And the crazy thing is he does not release that much material. Does he even have a full album yet? I think he has...
He put out his debut album a year, I think in 2020 or maybe even...
No, but was that... I feel like that was an EP. Did he put out
maybe
a full
it
album?
was. I thought it was his debut album. That was called Seven, right?
Yeah, I think that was just an EP.
He's about to release an album anyway. I know that. And he just released a song called Sun Comes Down, and holy fucking shit. That is a phenomenal song.
I've not heard it yet.
Oh, yeah, I've not either. Yeah, he just has seven EP.
But yeah, the shit, Lil Nas X is just different at this point.
I would be so scared if I was Lil Nas X. I would hate to be in his position because
he's loving it.
On one level, yes, but on another level, you released one of the greatest songs to ever be released on your first try. What? How are you supposed to what do you do after that? I guess you drop
Panini.
Yeah, you drop Panini. That's it.
Panini, don't you be a meanie.
And then you drop Montero.
Montero is actually one of the that is critically a fucking phenomenal song.
No, it is. That song is actually great. I love the video for it too. It's like
the video is
it's just very imaginative.
It's a think piece.
Got a lot of people upset, which
Oh.
I think is hilarious.
He's doing everything right
Like,
at this point.
if you're mad at that video,
Take a look at yourself.
I guess
Just look in the mirror.
that's what he
look at it.
wanted to happen.
Look at it.
If you're
Look
mad at the video, that's what he wanted to happen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He wanted to induce satanic panic, which is fucking hilarious. He was just like,
Satanic Panic.
Like, all he did,
he's like
all he did-
all these old white people love nostalgia. How about I give it to him with satanic panic?
think about it. All he did was take a stripper pole from heaven to hell and lap dance, or give a lap dance to the devil. That's it.
And if there's anybody you're going to give a lap dance to, why not him?
At least it wasn't like God. That'd be
that
even
was-
more epic.
That would have been
You know?
even more epic. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I love the tweets I've seen where it's like Christians love to, or the like definition of make up a guy and get mad at him.
That's true. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. They just don't have enough problems in their life, so they have to find something, you know.
They got to find something, and this is what it happened to be, I guess.
Well, something that was actually a problem about 2 years ago. The college admissions scandal. Do you recall this with Lori Loughlin?
I do. Wow.
Have you all seen? Have either of you seen the documentary on Netflix about this?
I have not.
Absolutely insane. If you get like a free hour and a half, just check that out. It's super compelling, and it's really like the way that it's made is really cool too, because it's almost as if it's like its own film, like documenting what would have happened, like in these phone calls with rich parents, where they're like, "Hey, so my kid doesn't actually play water polo, but I need him to get dressed up as if he does, so I can send it to Stanford." And then them saying, "That doesn't sound completely legal," and him saying, "Yeah, you won't. Nothing will happen. Just do it. It'll be all right. I promise." And
That's just
that's
some
how
rich
the thing
people ass
literally
shit.
happened.
Some rich people ass shit right there.
Rich people ash. Just being like, so do this and all my problems are solved. Okay, cool. I'll do it.
Around that same time when that whole scandal was happening, Captain Marvel was released in theaters, and so was Us by Jordan Peele.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Great movie.
I cannot wait for his next movie.
He's just gonna keep dropping fucking bangers.
He's 2 for 2.
He's so good.
Isn't it? It's just Get Out
And he's
Us,
more
right?
than 2 for 2
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, Key and Peele,
Okay, duh.
even before that.
Even before that,
True.
yeah. Me and Claire actually watched Us. A couple weeks ago. I watched Us for the first time, and then she hadn't seen Get Out, so we watched Get Out too.
Oh,
And like just watching those back to back, you can like he has his own like it's almost as if those happened at like 2 different like times in the universe or parts of.
It feels like the same universe.
Yeah, it feels like the same rules govern his films that don't actually govern reality. Like,
yeah, he's got the Monkey Paw universe.
yeah,
He's got the monkey paw.
I want
universe.
Jordan Peele to direct a Darth Vader movie.
Ooh,
I think he would do a great job. Like a thriller horror of Vader just tearing it up.
that'd be extraordinarily fun. I would love to get a horror film look at Emperor Palpatine too.
oh.
That would
You
be
know,
sick.
What I really want from Star Wars too is just like some of the like really comic-y stories about like these like crazy ass like mythical Jedis that like Darth Vader hunts down, and like the massive ass gap between like his time becoming Darth Vader and his time like us actually seeing him like on screen as Darth Vader, like because he's like I just was watching some YouTube videos about it a couple weeks ago, and like there's so many Star Wars stories that just like don't really get told.
What's interesting,
Oh god, got some major feedback there.
Buck? It seems,
Joe's audio is coming through on Tavares.
am I loud for you, Colton?
You're a little loud, but I actually had to turn down my microphone so I didn't get my feedback from Tavares's.
Turn myself down. Am I still good?
That sounds better.
Better. Start getting a little.
That's too low. A little higher. There you go. That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
We're chilling.
I
now.
forgot where I was completely.
I got distracted around the third ba.
We really don't get to see the primes of the characters that we know. Like Vader, we didn't get to see his prime. We didn't get to see Luke's prime. Anakin, I guess we saw everything of Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin. The Clone Wars is Anakin's prime. That's
I guess we saw Anakin's prime. But like,
we're not going to see Rey's.
Yeah, we haven't. It ends before, like, right when their prime starts, basically.
Well, that's the climb, though. That's the climb. They got to get to there.
That's true.
Star Wars in general has like its own like super unique story structure that I think like
it's the same story over and over.
Yeah, you can do it endlessly. It's almost as if the point is to do it endlessly.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what's that's what's got Star Wars creators just like in their bag is that they know what works at this point.
They know the
in
formula.
The Star Wars universe.
They have the formula, yeah.
I like what gets exciting is when we do find good iterations of that style. You know what I'm saying? And it still maintains that honesty to the originals, like The Mandalorian, which like on episodes directed by like Rick Famuyiwa. I feel like I'm watching Indiana fucking Jones. You know, I'm watching George Lucas influenced shit, and it's obvious. And I like that about it, but it's also not afraid to be itself.
We're definitely in a good era of Star Wars. Can you hear me? I don't see any green lines. I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, I can hear you. You're chilling. Okay, I don't see any on mine either, but we're okay.
Okay, cool. But like we're definitely living in a great era. This would be a beautiful time to grow up.
Dude, it's not just a great era for Star Wars, but a great era for entertainment in general.
That's true. Just
another fascinating one from around the time the show was starting. Euphoria wouldn't air for another month.
Oh, the beginning? Like the start?
The beginning. The first episode of Euphoria wasn't for another month after we started this podcast.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was the one that really put me on my ass when I saw it.
I remember you watching that and being like, I don't think I'd seen it. I don't think I saw like the first two as they came out, and you're like, yo, we like get yourself emotionally and mentally prepared, but you got to watch this.
And then we started doing episode breakdowns for the rest of the season, which we will be doing again in season 2.
Honestly, that's a show we might need to revisit just in the interim.
Absolutely.
With the 2 special episodes, those were very interesting. And
that is honestly, it's impressive I love how successful that show is, because that show is literally just about society's problems, basically.
Yeah, it's a microcosm of every high school in the nation's problems, and they shoved it all into one of them.
And
they were like, successful. That's why it's going to be chaos here.
It just works. I don't know. It's like a show that you don't know why you like it, but you just keep watching it. Like
it destroys you.
It's just like, this is so bad. It's probably a net negative if I watch this show. You know, I'm probably going to come away feeling worse of a person. You know, but still, I'm just like, damn.
It's just so fucking good, regardless.
Yeah. No, it's almost become like that. What's the term for that? Like the kind of stuff that you watch, like the macho guy watching the romantic comedies. What's it? It's like there's a term.
Juxtaposition.
No, it's I can't remember like what the word, but it's just like that thing you go to where you know, like
comfort.
Huh?
The comfort watch? I don't know.
Yeah, comfort watch kind of, but it's like a comfort watch where you feel ashamed about it because you know that like. I really shouldn't enjoy this.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. That's what it is. Yeah, guilty pleasure.
Okay. I didn't figure it out to that last wording you put on it.
It's kind of become like that. It's kind of become like my guilty pleasure show.
See, I'm not even fucking guilty about it. I straight up fucking like it for it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna be honest right now, the biggest guilty pleasure in my life since about 2 years ago on this day, Game of Thrones was ending. I recently made a deal with Emily that which would make her watch Game of Thrones. So for every episode of Game of Thrones we watch, I have to watch an episode of Glee.
Oh. I don't know who's coming out on top in that one.
And guys, I fucking hate myself for it.
Not
not
Glee.
a good deal. That is not a
But I
good deal.
kind of like it.
Okay. I will say there were 2 shows that I watched but didn't watch, but only watched because my mom and my sister watched it in the living room, and sometimes I would sit down and join. Those 2 shows were Glee and Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy.
I know enough about these shows to talk about them, but like I don't know how I know this stuff because I would watch episodes. I would watch like probably 3 episodes of a season, then 2 weeks later come back. So I'm way off of like chronological order, but I know so much about Grey's Anatomy for no reason. Like I know so much.
Dude, you want to know what's crazy? I watched the first 9 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, and I went, that's enough.
It's the same thing over and over and over, and it only gets exciting when like a big person dies or leaves.
That's why I was done, bro.
I couldn't make it through an episode of Grey's Anatomy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was Casey's favorite show, and she's like, just watch, like, we'll watch the first episode. I don't remember a single thing that happened. I really I just was like, I don't know how you get through like 15 plus seasons of this. Like, that just does not make sense.
It does not compute. However, we certainly will be rewatching these 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. We've already completed season 1.
I think you need to renegotiate your deal, though.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Because, okay, here's the thing. Game of Thrones is going to go down as one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Glee is not. We can at least say that.
Joker just spitting facts.
We can at least say that. I'm not going to say Glee's terrible. It's okay. But like,
it's got the Barry Allen dude in there. Grant Gustin.
Yeah, Grant Gustin will come up. Will pop up.
Let's say if this was my girlfriend, you're sacrificing a whole lot more right now.
No, I mean, I get Game of Thrones out of this. She doesn't want to watch Game of Thrones, you know.
But she will.
It's excessive. It's excessive. And
Wait,
it's
how
violent.
far are you into Game of Thrones?
We have finished season 1. We are into season 2. A couple episodes.
So this is the season where she's going to get hooked.
I gotta know, what was her reaction to the last episode of season 1?
She Ned Stark died in episode 9.
Oh, was that episode 9? There was
that
one
wasn't
more.
the end. That wasn't the end of season 1.
No, season 1 ends with Daenerys emerging from the fire with her dragons.
Oh, interesting.
Episode 9, when the man's head comes off, Emily cried for a bit.
Respect.
I mean, the first time I watched, I was fucked up.
I was getting ready to stop watching Game of Thrones before that happened. I was like, okay, well, I got to see it through now, just out of respect for Ned.
Well, that's the thing, is that like it's. I was telling her that's the launching point for the story. Like, the first season's just a prelude. It's just giving you background information, and now the story launches. Now we really get into it. This is what launched the War of the Five Kings, and that's what. You know, no spoilers because she's in the room and she can hear. But that's what launches the whole thing.
I can't wait for Red. I won't say the second word, Red. I cannot wait for that moment. That is a moment in the show. That is a moment in the show. Like, it affects everybody. That's the thing. Is that it's one of the only shows where you will get attached to every character because it's that good, and then they're just
you never know who might go.
I thought Ned was an entire show character. Like, I'm like, this dude's not dying for like 4 seasons at least.
He's the main. He was the main character at the end of season 1. Like,
it's the main dude. Like,
also on a side note, the actor who played Robb Stark, Ned's son, He is in the Eternals trailer, if you've seen that.
With Kit Harington.
Is Kit Harington in that too? I thought that was just like, I remember seeing that like a year and a half ago, but I thought it was just like smoke at this point.
I really think Marvel is planning the biggest crossover event in all of history. I really think they're just trying to get as many universes into their show so that whenever they go to the multiverse, they can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They have so many people from so many different stuff. Yeah. And they make it like a goal. Like, it seems. Even, I guess that's just how connected Hollywood is, though, because you can connect any two Marvel characters outside of Marvel. Yeah. So, I don't know.
No, I think it's going to be kind of funny, especially with the Eternals, because from what I've been seeing, there's this RDC World video. I haven't actually watched about it yet, but it's like where the Eternals were during Infinity War and Endgame and all that. And I was like, that is a great question, because that trailer is.
This very question led me to read more Eternals. So the other night, Joe, I know you saw in the group chat, I sent a screenshot and was like, Who do you guys think this dialogue is from? Because it was like the most this character dialogue ever. So I want to read it to you, and I need Tavares to guess who it is. I'm talking from the perspective of here.
Wait, this is a Marvel character?
This is a Marvel villain. I'll give you that.
If you weren't even told Marvel, I think you would still.
More eternal blasphemy, an affront against the universe. All that live must die. When I am done, there will be but a single thing that is eternal. Death.
Punisher? I don't know.
Thanos.
Okay. That was my first thought, but I was like, no way it's that easy. Like
that was everyone's reaction when I sent it in that group chat.
Yeah.
I was like whose dialogue do you think this is? I wasn't trying to, because it's a reveal. It's like a page reveal, so they don't show who says it. I was like, as soon as I read it, I was like, there is only one person who would be saying this dialogue right now, and it has to be Thanos. But in my reading on the Eternals, what I found is that they are kind of, in the comic books, pawns for Celestials. They are cursed to live forever, and all the Celestials care about is the advancement of the human race. They don't give a fuck about the Eternals. But
that's a pretty... I mean, the human race could have ended.
That's the thing, is that also in the comic books, Thanos is kind of a product of Eternals, which is weird, because Titan is a established colony of the Eternals. Like one of the Eternals birthed a planet, and that planet was Titan, and then
as they do,
Thanos. It's Thanos is Eternal adjacent. So it's the possibility that Thanos flew under the radar to them because he is kind of one of them. That's a possibility. However, I think it's just that the Eternals were sworn to never do anything, and then it was Thanos' actions that motivated them to be like, okay, we really can't do that shit again because this shit almost ended. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Why did this... Oh, you go ahead.
So, are Celestials above Eternals or Eternals above Celestials?
Celestials are above Eternals. So. Eternals just have, in the comic books, they just have abilities. They're just kind of like normal superheroes. They just, once they die, they come back to life. Hence, eternal.
Oh, so they do age.
I thought
they don't age. They can be murdered, though.
Yeah, that's a weird story mechanic. Why do the Celestials care about the human race? That seems
that I don't understand. I think it's because they're their creation, and they worship them.
The Celestials worship the humans?
No, the humans worship Celestials. Celestials are God and shit like that.
Well, yeah. But we haven't met any of the Celestials, have we? I'm sure if you look deep in the comics...
We have seen the severed head of a Celestial, which was the planet Nowhere.
Oh, that's where that dude's from Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, they go to Nowhere on the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, they go there, do they? I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
It looks like a Transformer's head.
you remember that moment in Infinity War where the Collector is talking to Thanos, or Gamora like kills Thanos in the reality aversion, and then he goes, "Magnificent, magnificent."
Yeah.
That's on Nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah. That whole scene's on Nowhere. But yeah, the Eternals. It looks like it's going to be the best Marvel movie there's ever been, in my opinion.
Whoa!
It's
That's
the
bold.
first. Like,
it's a picture of Nowhere,
I mean, from a critical standpoint, this is the first Marvel movie ever directed by the director who has won a best director at the Oscars, Chloe Zhao, who won for Nomadland. Pretty huge this past year. So
okay,
it's like,
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea. I have zero information about Celestials and Eternals. Like,
I have zero information about it too. I have little to none about it. That's why I want to keep reading up on it. And actually, it'd be a really fun idea to like read up on that kind of together.
I would like to
talk about it and stuff.
Is Galactus? Is he a Celestial?
I think he's like. I don't know if he is a Celestial or if he's like a product of Celestials, or I couldn't really tell you.
Like, because I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to picture something, right? Like, the big Power Stone Celestial. That was a Celestial, correct?
Yes.
Like, there were 6 Celestials, like, one with each stone. Is that correct? Like, is that how they were created?
I don't think so. I think there are more than 6 Celestials.
But there were.
Brandon, I have no idea.
Was there a Celestial per stone at one time?
I'm sure there was. I couldn't tell you.
Because I remember the
that
Power
would make
Stone
a lot
one
of sense.
clearly. Like, I clearly remember the Power Stone Celestial just yeeting a whole planet.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm looking at pictures of them. They just look like mega robots.
Pretty much. But the Eternals cast is just fucking magnificent. You got Angelina Jolie as Thena, who in the comic books is the cousin of Thanos. So there's another potential, like, just my cousin, I didn't think anything of it type thing. I don't know. They're eternal, you know, how much really pops up on their radar. Salma Hayek, who is phenomenal. She'll be playing Ajax.
What's she? I recognize her name, but I can't think of it.
You maybe recognize her from Grown Ups.
Oh, no, I recognize her from she's been in a bunch of stuff.
She's been in a ton of stuff. I just threw out a very, very random one.
Okay, yeah.
We've also got Gemma Chan, who will play Cersei, who has been said to be the main character of this, if there is anyone to take from it. Cersei.
Spy Kids. That's what I know her from. Spy Kids.
Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark, will be playing Icarus. And then Kit Harington will be playing Dane Whitman, who is the Black Knight. So he'll be playing a roughly Game of Thrones-y.
Do we know when this takes place in the MCU?
I'm thinking I think it's modern day MCU. I think it's supposed to be like modern timeline.
Well, yeah, it's the first movie of Phase 4, so I mean, I assume they've got
Are any of these usually on Earth, or are they all off planet?
I don't know.
Because if they are mainly on Earth, how are they going to bring them into this story and be like, yeah, we just had this massive war on Earth, you know?
Yeah, it's saying that they've secretly lived on Earth.
So, like, they have to hide? Do they have to hide their identities? Or
for some reason, apparently.
Who's to say? Maybe half of them got snapped away.
That's true, but you would think the other half would know of the Avengers, for one. You would think at least we would hear about one of them. Like,
I don't know.
If there was this group on Earth that are eternal, the only way they can die is to be murdered. And they all have superpowers, and they're like gods. If I had a Superman on Earth during Infinity War, and we figured out that we had a Superman on Earth, and we didn't use him,
yeah, Honestly, I feel like Marvel has to be predicting these sorts of, because like this is like obviously a major criticism like of the placement of this movie and these characters.
Well, it's a major criticism throughout everything. You
Yeah.
know, like what we need to be able to do is separate, this in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
it's just a movie. Like we need to understand the idea hadn't been written yet. That's why they're not in the earlier.
So when
movies.
is this?
That's all.
When is this movie? I guess. What's the lineup of movies before this? Like we have Doctor Strange, WandaVision.
This is the first one, isn't it?
Wait,
this is the second one after Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Oh, really?
This comes out in November.
We do not have Doctor Strange before this.
No, we do not.
Or Spider-Man.
No, Spider-Man is in December.
There's one more that comes out in November, right?
That's just Eternals.
Oh, Eternals comes out in November?
Okay. And then Eternals Black Widow comes out in a couple months.
Okay, so Black Widow,
Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, Multiverse of Madness.
Because it would make sense if, say, I don't know, maybe Shang-Chi is what's going to introduce the multiverse, or maybe Eternals is what's going to introduce the multiverse. Like,
I think we can more specifically anticipate introductions to actual Celestials being characters in Eternals. Is what I think we can probably expect a little bit more of.
Wow. I mean,
that'd be my anticipation. I don't know though.
Okay. I just like to have a definition, and the only definition they give for a celestial is powerful extraterrestrial cosmic beings. This is an alien race that influence key events in human history for mysterious and unclear reasons. They were responsible for key human evolutionary events, such as the genetic offshoot races such as the Eternals, the Deviants, as well as the creation of the X gene, apparently.
I feel like they just kind of wrote themselves a hack. Like they were just kind of like, we can't figure out what the fuck to do. Bring in the Celestials, they kill everyone. We'll start over.
So they basically just play around with humans.
That's what it seems like.
It seems like they just use them as like their game. It's their pawns, like they don't really care what happens. It's just kind of like fun for them.
Yeah, so it says the Celestials saw the human population as a useful pathogen to act as antibodies against the Horde, which I'm assuming is referring to the Deviants. This discovery drove the Eternals mad, which either made them turn against each other or commit suicide. But that's all comic stuff, so that obviously might not get adapted to the actual like MCU story of it. But
well, that would be the end of an Eternal story. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it would.
For them to finalize themselves.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what sort of disaster they concoct so soon after Avengers Endgame, because it's like getting to the point.
That's my thing, is that I don't think we're not going to be able to expect a Thanos level threat, obviously. I'm anticipating one of their own being the villain.
But do you think that they're going to hint towards Thanos? Because Thanos' first appearance in the MCU is in 2012, like in the very first Avengers movie. Like, even if it is a 30-second like after credit clip, like, are we even going to get like what? Because everyone's like, okay, Thanos is gone. We've always known that Thanos was there since the very first Avengers movie, which gave you something to watch. Like, at the very least, like, even if you weren't watching a movie directly associated to that, like, you knew in some way, shape, or form, eventually you would get to it. Like, do you think they're going to go for that strategy again?
I mean, you would think that this would be their Thanos, Like, the Celestials would be the new Thanos.
Right.
If they're hopping in right away, I don't know. They got a lot of explaining to do, for one. They have to bring a lot of nerd shit to regular level, which that's a lot. Like, they have to introduce so much stuff and put it on a level where kids can understand it. So at the end of the day, that's what they have to do. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think they're doing that in one movie. Like you.
I don't think they would be either. There is the potentiality. I've read that the big bad, the next big bad, would be Kang the Conqueror, who obviously has not been adapted for the screen because he is not a villain who has yet been used. But in the comic books, he is a Thanos type beat. You know what I'm saying?
He looks dope.
He looks super dope. And I believe he's supposed to be played by Jonathan, what's his
Majors?
name? Jonathan Majors, yes.
Who's that?
He's from Witchcraft County.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And Beale Street, that movie. Mm-hmm. I think he's in that too.
Wow. But what's this dude's, like, his thing? I mean, he sounds like a conqueror.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't read enough with Kang the Conqueror. The only stories I've read are like old X-Men comic books in which he's just a real small part of. I'll have to do some more. See, that's why I think it would be fun to start doing some pre-reading for stuff that's coming and kind of do it with the podcast. I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to do.
Fun fact. Kang the Conqueror was ranked IGN's 65th greatest comic book villain of all time.
Look at that.
I would assume there's a top 100. Doesn't make our cut. Our top 64 bracket. Kang the Conqueror will not make it.
No, because he has not appeared in the MCU.
That's also true.
We could do some like light planning for that right now, actually. I saw a tweet today that was like one has to go, and it was Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Superman. And the large complaint that everyone had was like, well, obviously it's Iron Man that you get rid of. And but like what I didn't like was a lot of people making the assumption that Iron Man prior to the MCU was just some D-list hero.
That's
too,
true.
Because he's always been an Avenger, and he had 2 animated series before the MCU. Don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau are owed the world for for the way they treated Iron Man and stuff. But I mean, he certainly is one of the greatest superheroes of all time now because of that. But he's certainly not in the same tier as Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman, I wouldn't think.
No. For one, Superman and Spider-Man actually have legit powers. 2, if we're talking about people with no powers, Batman wins that fight just every time. And that's what it comes down to, is Superman and Spider-Man aren't going anywhere. It's down to Batman and Iron Man, and that fight isn't... I mean, that's just obvious. Like...
Yeah. Iron Man's really not even, like, fight trained ever. Maybe in the comics somewhere he is, but as far as I know, he built engines. He built a thing that allowed him to sustain, like being in a fight without learning what it would mean to, like, evade, to strategize, and all that.
I'm just talking about the character in general. Like, just if one of them just had to be erased from existence, I would pick Iron Man, even though he's probably one of my favorites in Marvel. Like, he's my definitely top 3, you know?
Well, I don't know. Like, when you, like, obviously on the fighting side or the more physical side, I think Batman edges out Iron Man. Iron Man might be smarter than Batman, though.
Oh, Iron Man's definitely smarter than Bruce Wayne.
But is he smarter in the fighting sense?
Yeah, I don't know if he is
But is that all that matters? Like,
I guess he just has
someone who can.
When it comes to Batman, no one matches his resilience or his practical, tactical masterful.
Batman is tactical.
Brilliance.
I saw a clip today that describes it perfectly. It was him and Wonder Woman. Wow, I don't know why I blanked so hard. I was trying to combine her real name with just her nickname, whatever. They're up on a roof watching like the entrance of like a ballroom or something, like, you know, a club, but for richer people.
Yeah, I get you.
And they see people coming out as couples, and like Diana's all like, wouldn't you ever like just want to be like them? Maybe with someone special. Like she was hinting, like, can we go on a date? Like basically what she was trying to say. And then Batman was just like, no, dating amongst the team is not allowed. 1, my enemy will stop at nothing before they get to me through them. 2, like, it's just like, he just listed off, and then he's like, 2, I am a, something billionaire who has a lot of issues, or something.
I saw that.
Like, it's just that. Like, it just, Batman, he is in it for being Batman. Like, he's not messing around. He is strictly business.
Which brings me to the topic of Robert Pattinson's upcoming Batman.
I am so excited.
That's going to be really fucking good.
I had to show, because me and Claire got into a conversation about it, and I was like, I need to show you Good Time with the Robert Pattinson movie, just to show like the range that man has, because it's that Twilight thing. I don't know how to explain the Twilight stigma, but getting out of it, like, Good Time is like a testament to what he is capable of, which honestly gives me a lot of confidence for his Batman.
Good. And that's where most of my confidence for him comes from. He was good as Edward Cullen and stuff. It's just that, like,
how good could he really be?
People hate. People love to hate those movies.
The role didn't let him shine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
And I think Matt Reeves is gonna just fucking kill it. And the fact that the same guy creating this movie is creating the new Batman animated series.
Oh, there's a new animated series.
It's coming up, and it's by him and J.J. Abrams.
I swear. Oh, he better be in there.
Ooh. Well, that's the thing, is that the way they've pitched it is like it's a reimagining of the Batman mythology. So it's gonna give us our classic. I'm assuming it's gonna give us our classic villains, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to move away from what they've done in the past, like a Mark Hamill Joker and stuff. Like they're trying to
with the
really
animated
create
show
their
or the
own
movie
whole
or
new
both?
thing. Don't get me wrong. With the animated show, I don't think we'll be getting Joker in the movies because of like Joker 2 and the whole Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix
DC
thing going
needs
on.
some structure. They really need some structure. Like,
it seems like this is the closest they're going to get to it too with this Matt Reeves universe is the impression I get, because Robert Pattinson just inked a deal with Warner Brothers for like a while.
That's good
to be Batman, essentially.
It's kind of weird because
I'm wondering
like DC has this ability to go anywhere they want, whenever they want. MCU, they got to kind of stick to what they're doing. You can't mess up
a code,
or you can't just have one movie as a money. Like DC probably puts out every movie as a money grab. That's what they're thinking. But like Marvel, they have to like keep it going. Like,
well, what I'm thinking is like Marvel's obviously become arguably too big to fail. Like they have just like gained such a fan base that like they have to telepath years in advance to be like, this is the way everything is going to go. DC though, I think the Justice League Zack Snyder cut kind of proved a lot of things for DC and what they should do, because like doing sort of like the disjointed approach might even be more, I guess, palatable for the way that they have come to tell stories. Because like you get a certain director with a certain script and a certain character, and he does wonders. But then you put that same director with a different character, and it's awful. So like I'm wondering, like, because like Aquaman, right? That was a good DC film. But what comes out before Aquaman? Was that Batman vs Superman? Was that the one before Aquaman? Yeah, or maybe even was the original Justice League. But like those were like sort of not as acclaimed. Like they just like didn't get the same sort of response because there's like so many flaws or whatever with the story. And so like all of those were attempts to do what Marvel has already done, right? Which is build this really robust universe with all these different characters acting in different parts of it. But what if they didn't? What if they just hopped around universes and timelines and also built to that multiverse?
That's what I want. I want all these. I don't see a problem with not having continuity. Like, what if they treated their movies and their shows like comic books? Each of them was their own thing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like, obviously you have comic book runs, but you'd have a television series for that. Once that concludes, you could do another Batman if you wanted. I mean, you don't have to do Batman. There's tons of DC characters. Do your own thing, but it's like you don't have to be afraid to go back to the well.
And think about what was strong about the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, what was strong about that is that it was a self-contained story about Batman, sustained over 3 movies, removed from any other like dealings with characters in the DC universe at large.
DC's biggest flaw is that they have it perfectly set up to treat movies like comic books, where they can do whatever, tell whatever story, whatever character, doesn't have any impact. But they don't tell the comic book story. They tell the Hollywood story. There's
they don't do good at it.
Yeah, they don't.
The MCU, there's a reason it's called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's a difference between the comics and these movies. It's just how it is. There's an innate difference. They don't go as dark. You know, it's just Hollywood up. It's just, yeah.
It's Disney,
and like,
bottom line. Like that's what it's become.
If you're DC, and I mean, and you have no continuity, you have nothing really. Like, you might as well, like, pick a side. It seems like they're trying to do both at the same time, and it's just not working.
Right. Well, they're trying to. I feel like they're trying to please like their grassroots fans. At the same time, they're trying to appeal to like a younger, less informed base. But like, you can either do Justice League or you can do Justice League Snyder Cut. And it's like their first choice is obviously going to be Justice League the original cut, but that is going to have a bunch of flaws. And it's like, I'm thinking too about Watchmen. Like, Watchmen came out years before any of these, and Watchmen, like, is that really?
Yep.
Yeah. And from what I know of it, I'm going to be honest. Like, I never even made it through that whole thing just because I don't know the Watchmen story. But I feel like if I did have like more of a basis for that movie, like, and from what I remember, like that movie got really good, like critical sort of response to it, but nobody watched it really.
Well, the thing is that it got a decent critical response, but like people fucking hated that.
Yeah, exactly.
It was I watched it and it was all right. It's not comic book loyal completely. I mean, there's a lot of shot for shot stuff straight from the comic books, but the Watchmen in the comic books, a lot of them don't have superpowers. They're just good at fighting, and in the movie, they're fucking punching through walls, like brick walls, and kicking dents in stuff they should, like, they have super strength. Like, they upped everything to make it so that it was more powerful and more like that. And then there's also this weird twist at the end of the Watchmen comic book story that, like, in a time like 2009 would not have been palatable to the viewer of a blockbuster film. But what I like about the Watchmen series is it's a sequel to the comic book. It is not a sequel to the movie. So the history of the past events is what happened in the comic book, not what happened in the movie. So the movie diverged from the comic book in a really big way at the end.
Interesting.
And a lot of people
does the show like tell the story at all of like of that history, like, or does it just kind of assume it?
Well, it's actually really fascinating. They actually do enough to allude to it that you don't need to know anything about it. And you'll understand enough of the background. You know what I'm saying? Because like Dr. Manhattan, like they speak on his history a lot because he's the biggest part of the Watchmen, the blue guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other than that, like the history of them is addressed plenty. One of the characters in the show is one of the characters from the original comic book. It's just like 20 or 30 years later or something like that. I can't remember the exact time jump there is, but I have the actual graphic novel. If either of you ever want to read it, you won't have to buy it anywhere. You can just borrow that shit from me. And after you read that, watch the Watchmen series, because holy fucking shit.
Are you thinking? You think after it's better to watch it and like read it then watch it, or?
Yeah. It doesn't ruin anything
I haven't watched
for the sequel
any of
or
it.
for the
I haven't
series
seen the
or
movie.
anything. And the
I've
series
only
doesn't-
seen Dr. Manhattan or Mr. Manhattan. I've only seen Dr. Manhattan in Me.
Dr. Manhattan.
That is it.
Dude, those comic book pages too are fucking
He just
incredible
looks like a
with
cool
Dr.
character.
Manhattan. He's a very fascinating character, and actually I would fucking love to be able to talk to you guys about that comic book series and that show, specifically that show, because it's fucking good.
Yeah, no, I remember when you were watching it, you were like, this is like the best show I've ever seen.
It was flooring me. Like, it's one of the best
Wow.
seasons of television I've ever watched.
Well, now you're
going to
make me watch it before I read it.
It was.
I'll probably.
I mean, you don't have to read it first. That's
Yeah,
the thing. I'm not saying that you have.
I'm probably going to start it tonight.
Yeah, you could.
Being honest,
you should. The main character is Regina King, who's just a legend.
Oh god, yeah. I've rewatched the Boondocks about a month ago with Claire. Regina King is just fucking insane. Like,
we're just touching on all these things throughout the Penny Bloom history. We talked about Batman for a spell. You know, we had the Batman binge, where we talked about Batman and Robin, the Dark Knight trilogy. Now we're touching on Regina King and the Boondocks, and we had a Huey Freeman Christmas back in July.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking I've been kind of wanting to do some more Boondocks episodes. Honestly, I think we should get.
We need to return to our episode breakdowns of random shit like Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman.
Please.
Even if you guys want to,
and then I'll actually don't get mad. I'll actually watch like Boondocks maybe if we want to talk about it. I've never seen it.
Boondocks is really, really good.
It's fucking hilarious. Like, you're gonna be like, should I be laughing? And then you're gonna realize this is just so funny. Like,
you're gonna be uncomfortable to laugh, and then you'll be like, okay, yeah, this is what they want me to do. This is what they want me to do. That's what
yeah, no, it was kind of funny watching it with like Claire, because she hadn't seen it either, and she kind of like very like at some moments like it was like almost visible like how like she was like, should I like. Is that like I'm just dying laughing, and she's just kind of like, "Am I like allowed to?" Just like
there's so many things. Like, and what's funny is like every relevant thing in that show, like to life in general, that like I think of, I cannot say. I cannot talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I cannot say it. Like I'm like, well, I'd love to talk to someone about this, but I can't.
Right. Yeah, no, it really speaks to I think the level of that show, because like I had a realization a while ago. Do you know how fucking awesome it would be to be the creator of the Boondocks, to be Aaron McGruder? Like, you created the Boondocks, you can sit down now. Like, you've created like what is arguably like the best like cross-cultural adaptation of Black culture in a like large media sense. So like there's not much distinguishing Boondocks from like an anime, just a typical anime. And even it looks like an anime. They have fights like an anime. They have like the story structure is set up like a slice of life anime. Like it's all the same thing. And then on another level, it dominates the adult cartoon industry in the United States, which is like not different from the anime industry. But also, like, both of these places, the anime and adult cartoon industry, are, like, eerily, like the Boondocks is kind of, like, the only sort of, like, Black contribution to that. And obviously there have been more in recent years. If you haven't seen the Mike Tyson show, Mike Tyson and I don't even remember the name. That thing's fucking hilarious. Mike Tyson is, like, just watch one episode.
Mysteries?
I'm tired of thinking about it. Yeah, and the mysteries something.
Yeah.
They're just like 20-minute episodes. They're real short, but they're just like the most like you will without a doubt like
I think it's
like
still
it
going.
is
Never mind. It ended last year.
Yeah,
it
it
might
is.
be coming out in the new season. I'm
Oh,
not
it did?
sure. It just says from 2014 to 2020. Usually they say ongoing. It says final episode date. I don't know if that means like done or what.
Okay, yeah, they must have ended it. I mean, it is Mike Tyson. You know, he has other things.
It's got a 4.9 out of 5 stars.
Do you guys remember when Mike Tyson said he was smoking 1,000 pounds of weed a month?
I believe it. I didn't believe it until I watched the show. And I'm like, this man had to be on some shit, like, in order to come up with this.
What is
and just like the self-awareness that he has.
A day? Is that what he says in his songs? I often smoke an ounce a day.
Probably an ounce. I feel like a pound is quite.
I think an ounce a
pound
day
is quite a bit. That's probably that's why I say probably what he said.
An ounce is about 28
that
blunts.
That's
only if you put it.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, if Wiz smokes an ounce a day, and there's 27 ounces, 28 ounces.
28
grams.
28 grams.
Okay, wait. How many ounces are in a pound? 16. Yeah, right. Like he's smoking 1,000 pounds of weed in a month.
Yeah, like what's 28 times 16?
Like, Wiz doesn't smoke.
That's like 450 blunts a day.
Wiz probably smokes.
Bro
like
lives
Wiz probably
in a
smokes
hot
a pound every 2 weeks.
No, he just puts giant blowtorches and fans in every room in his house, and he just burns weed. So he just walks around in it.
Wait, do any of you know how many minutes are in a day? How many minutes are in 24 hours?
Whatever that
60
number is,
times
2400? No. 3,600? No. 70.
1440. So 1440 minutes a day. Let's say it takes 20 minutes to smoke a blunt. Divide that by 20. All right, you got 72. 72 sessions in a day.
Right.
And that's just you for 24 hours straight
Wiz.
rolling.
Wiz,
smoking,
he wakes up.
smoking.
Wiz and Snoop, I would say, are the two that wake up. That's what they do all day. Okay, true.
And Seth Rogen.
I would say
Seth Rogen,
an ounce every 2 weeks, and that's.
And now we're on weed.
For a pound. No, I'd say a pound every 2 weeks is probably what Wiz and Snoop go through.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Because, like, you got to think, too, like, I think Seth Rogen probably does chief about as much as them. But you got to think, like, Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa have completely different, like, personas, like, social personas than Seth. Like, nobody's really going to care if Seth Rogen comes in smelling like weed. But, like, Seth Rogen is probably going to places where, I don't know, like, it seems like he wouldn't, like, he couldn't be high, you know, just with his, like, line of profession. Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa are going around all day going to interviews. They can be stoned as fuck. They're just
this is hilarious. Actually, I listened to a podcast with Seth Rogen, and on it they were like, "So have you ever, acted in a scene high?" And he goes, "Oh, I act exclusively high."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, I do not act sober. That's actually not something that happens,
So apparently on Joe Rogan, Wiz Khalifa said that he in fact smokes about an ounce a day.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fair. I think that makes sense.
That makes sense for Wiz Khalifa. 28 blunts
Joe
in a day.
Rogan,
that's light work for Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, and like to be honest, he's probably stuffing some thumbs. Like, not gonna lie, he's putting about a 3.5 to 2.5 in the joint.
What
like,
percent of the
day they don't smoke blunts, but
like, do you think? Like, because there's got to be the in between.
5.
Like, or do you think he's the start of the come down? He's like
the in between walk.
Like,
I feel like,
if you're smoking 28 blunts in a day, you're probably
he hasn't been sober.
You're high the whole fucking
day.
day.
That's the thing.
Okay,
28 joints. My bad.
Do you think he's
you got to think about how tolerance works too, though, because yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. When's the last time you think he has not smoked in a day? Do you think he's gone a day without smoking in the last 10 years?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah. If he goes to like Japan or something, there's no way to get weed there. Like if he goes perform in Japan, like
boy has his own.
Honestly,
strength.
Yeah, he probably has edibles or something. I don't know. Well, I'm just saying, like, for like legal purposes, like, there's like, you definitely cannot get weed into Japan through like
you can't just pull up with
customs
5 ounces,
and then I don't
be like, all right, this is just for my trip for Japan, just a couple days, just 5.
This is 5 days.
I saw something that said like a gram of weed can go as high as $90 in Japan. 90 a gram. That's 9 times the price here.
This is that's the concern with that's the concern I have with the commercialization, frankly.
But once it's all
it's insane.
Like federal, then it's just going to drop. We're going to see a rise, but then we're going to see a when the competitive market kicks in. Whenever it starts to get competitive, and people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to win here anymore." Like this person selling it for regular prices, like a normal human. Go to them.
Have you all heard about this Delta 8?
The cousin of THC or something like that?
Yeah, the cousin of THC, of Delta 9 THC, which is the main psychoactive component of marijuana. Its cousin, which has the same chemical makeup apparently. I got a D in pre-AP Chem, so don't grill me on the chemical makeup. But it is 2/3 as potent as Delta 9 THC, right? And so normal marijuana has both of them, right? I actually have looked quite a bit into this. So if you remember, in 2018, the Farm Bill gets passed, and I remember the Farm Bill is like this weird thing that people talked about in debate, like for no reason at all. The Farm Bill actually legalized the manufacture, maybe, or the use, or something to do. It lessened the regulation on hemp, basically, as to utilize that for different purposes. And so you can extract Delta 9 THC from, or you can make it look like hemp because it only has, as long as you have below 0.3% of THC 9 in whatever substance it is, it qualifies under the Farm Bill, which says that you can have hemp, which has no more than 0.3% of THC 9 in it, Delta 9. So yeah, basically people just they figured out how to take Delta 8 and extract it, put it into shit, and now they sell it in about just every form you can imagine. So a month or so ago, had no plugs, had no one banging my line, you know. So I hit up the smoke shop. There's this place in Liberty called Happy Rock. And I walk in, I'm just like, hey, you ever got that Delta 8? Like, yeah, man, we got the buds, the wax, the concentrate, the edibles, we got the vape pens, we got every version imaginable. And I ended up buying a quarter of Delta 8 that night. And you want to know, for half the price of a quarter of actual weed. And I was like, that's absolutely insane. For 2/3 potency? Like, I don't know. And, you know, I smoked it and it was about 2/3. It was about 2/3. It felt like you, like, if you were going here, and then here, you went here, and then almost, and you just never really got there, but it was still something, you know.
I feel so.
It is definitely something that I think people can, like, it'll really, like, I'm interested to see once we see, like, full federal legalization, or even just like complete state regulation, what the market looks like with so many different options. Like, so many options. When I went to Las Vegas, there was this place, it said it was the largest dispensary in the United States. It was called Planet something. Planet Weed.
No.
Let's call it Planet Weed. Factory. It was like a warehouse. It was huge. It was massive. I couldn't go in obviously because I wasn't 21. But from what I heard about the person that we did send inside, shit was like it was a mall full of weed. Can you even think of that?
Oh my god!
I mean, that's what it's gonna be like.
Shit's insane.
I know what we're gonna do for my birthday.
I fully believe in like 30 years, like it is going to be so like weed will be like more accepted than alcohol. I think alcohol once weed is recognized and everything, like the old people die out, whatever. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We're just waiting kind of for people to die out. But
honestly,
like when people start realizing, like, wait, like this isn't actually bad for you, and alcohol is like really bad for you,
like at all.
And we've like there's been 2 amendments over alcohol. The only thing in the the Bill of Rights that involves 2 things other than slavery, I would say, the issue of civil rights. I'd say it's the only thing in the Bill of Rights that has 2 things referring to it. Alcohol is one of them. Like, that's kind of crazy. And like the fact that if you get caught with X amount of weed, you're going to jail forever. But if you have like a trunk full of Everclear, like it's just like, oh, who cares?
It's all right.
Trunk full of Everclear could kill an entire
true.
Community.
Like,
yeah. Would your car count as a bomb?
Local water supply and just dump that shit out.
Like I just.
Yeah.
See? And the cops wouldn't have given a shit because it was just Everclear. Imagine if you just had a trunk full of just weed.
You
have a flower in your trunk that grows naturally and it's actually healthy in most ways. I'm gonna take you to jail forever. But this guy, who's probably drunk, has children who's driving home on the road in a truck drunk, will give you, a DUI. You can just pay for it. Yeah, just don't worry about it.
You'll keep your job, though, if you're white.
I don't know.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
Humans have our priorities in the wrong places.
The justice is... I think the whole... And we might have... I think I have a memory of talking about this at some point on one of the episodes we did, but like the stigma against drugs itself, I feel like, is the most dangerous part of drugs. And like... most primarily about like speaking about that term itself, like the way that it gets used is typically exclusive of substances such as nicotine or such as alcohol, because they've been made socially or like legally like tenable. Like these are things that are okay and accepted in society, and thus they are not thrown into the drug category. So like we have to like rethink the way that we even use the word drugs, I feel like, because so many people are gonna, like, when they do legalize marijuana, say that's a drug, that's bad, not realizing, like, I guess the stigma attached to that word
like
itself.
It's an education thing. Like we're brought up in Dare, like we're afraid of weed and alcohol. It's like this is the gateway into bad life.
Yo, I thought that if I smoked weed, I'd do crack.
That's what they make you think. It's like
I was like, Mom, CW. He told me today that it's a no-go. It's a no-go on the weed.
No go.
I do weed. I drink alcohol. I do cocaine. I do cocaine. I smoke crack. Okay.
It's just
cocaine is crack.
Just how it goes.
No, but I was 8. You know what I'm saying? I was 8. So
that is weird, man. Like, okay, I get what they're doing. Like, it's kind of weird when you think about it. It's kind of like, I don't know. Like, we have sex ed, and that's weird. We do it while we're young. Like, maybe I guess instead of making you deathly afraid of them,
we actually
That's
don't
true.
have sex
I don't
ed,
know.
Joe.
I don't know.
Think about why you're even deathly afraid in the first place. Why are cops coming into public schooling institutions and teaching us about drugs? Like, what expertise does a cop have that your teacher couldn't have? Like,
It's propaganda.
let me be honest real quick though. Like, education majors, the wildest motherfuckers you'll meet in college. I've never met an education major who doesn't
Especially right
absolutely
now,
go
like,
insane on the weekends. Like,
If I'm a kid,
yeah,
like I don't want a cop coming in and talking to me about anything, especially right now.
no,
Like, can you imagine like having a cop coming in and being like,
Yeah.
"Kids, I'm above your teacher. I'm above your
Listen
parents.
to me.
This is I know drugs. I took an
I'm
oath
above the law.
to not have kids smoke weed." I don't know.
yo,
Yeah, my brother came home from school, and I saw him the other day in a Dare shirt. He ran up to me, he goes, Colton, I have drugs on my shirt.
yeah, good one.
He gave me
Yeah.
that look. He gave me that look like,
Hmm.
what's up?
How many times
You know
do
what
you
I'm
think
saying?
that joke was made?
I was
Yeah,
like, kid, I'm
I'm
doing
actually-
drugs tonight.
Like,
I'm doing drugs. In fact, I did drugs before I came up
a
here.
couple seconds before we just saw each other right now. Like, yeah. That oath I took as a Dare student, it's long gone.
Kid,
Okay.
I'm high as fuck.
I put a Dare. I was going through my baby book a couple months ago, and I found the Dare bumper sticker that they give you. Proud parent of a Dare graduate. Slap that thing on my car immediately.
Wow.
I don't know if the irony of like say in the future I get pulled over and like my car might smell like weed or something. Like if like the cop will find it funny or not. Probably not. Last cop I came into interaction with about weed called me Cheech and Chong.
Wow.
So yeah, they have a funny bone when it comes to
You know,
citing people
is
for
this a strategy
weed.
that hasn't been tapped into? You just put like the American flag with the blue stripe, whatever that's called, on the back of your car. Only just in
The
case
thin
you get
blue
pulled
line.
over. You don't believe in it, you know. You don't believe in whatever that is. But you just do it.
But you are, regardless,
Like-
you are feeding the fire.
Yeah.
You are
That's
giving
true.
giving recognition to.
Do
the
you
very
think
thing
the likelihood
you
of a
seek
ticket
to
It's
being
like
down
in the 60s.
stuff probably goes down.
Probably
Down for sure.
down
Yeah.
immensely.
Yeah, if you
No,
have
it
blue
goes
line,
down.
You-
It goes down all the way. I think if a cop, like, I mean,
Fair,
unless you're
fair.
doing some serious fuck shit, like if you're going 10 over though, and normally a cop pulls a person over for going 10 over, but you have a thin blue line on the back of your car, I'm willing to bet you get off.
I mean, think about it. Like
Like they're gonna come up and they're just gonna.
the FBI infiltrates the FBI infiltrates the civil rights movement like on a massive scale. Like there are probably still people that were like undercover operatives in the Nation of Islam or in like the South Georgia like Christian Union or whatever that were trying to like get out intel or just sort of have a presence in there and not be known. Like, hey, I mean, I'm saying that might be a
Are
useful
we going to
strategy.
war, boys?
But you might.
Like, I
We're
think
already
it's
in
about to
war.
get
That's
pretty serious.
what's the problem.
There are like a lot of missiles that are hitting
Well, here's the
Earth
thing: is that
lately.
Yeah.
here's the thing: is that it's like what 265 years of the United States
Sounds right.
as a country existing.
Mm.
We have been at war for like 240 of them. It's like,
Are you serious?
yeah, like look that up. How many years
That's so
of its
sad.
history has the United States been at war? It's like
You know, I've gone
an
on record.
overwhelming
and I will say it
percentage.
till the day I die. If I was ever given the off switch for humanity, I would not take a second guess. I'm turning it off. Not like
You have said that before, right
a
here
firm
on the
believer
podcast.
that we do not deserve where we are at. We just don't.
Oh my!
Like we are
We
so
treat the earth
shitty.
like shit.
We are so shitty. Like there are still people on. There are still people on the planet don't have water, don't have a home, don't have families most of the time. There are still people on the planet that are still suffering. Whoa. I think it's better.
I think it's gone.
Anyway, there are still people that are suffering from things that they should not be suffering from.
Absolutely.
Hunger should not be a problem at all. We have food that's being thrown out. We have so much. Just think about the amount of food restaurants throw away a day. If you could grab all that food, put it in one place, just imagine the sheer amount of food we're throwing away. Obviously, we can't just teleport that food to to Africa or somewhere where it's needed super easily. But
hungry people in America even.
You want to know something really funny about just this topic in particular is that honestly what I feel like needs to happen is nobody is in a position to care. Nobody is even in the right space to even be we should do something. And obviously there are independent people who do things. I went to an entire debate tournament where the topic in February of 2020, this was right before COVID. Right before COVID, I go to Las Vegas for a debate tournament. This is a one-off tournament. The topic is what to do about food waste in casinos. And so they have casino food workers come judge us, people who know nothing about debate or that. To be frank, these were kind of dumb people. We go to this tournament and our argument is that no. We don't need to be focusing on the food waste. We don't need to be focusing on what gets made at the casinos and then gets thrown away. We need to be focusing on the overproduction of food in the first place, because we are ruining all of our land basically by producing a bunch of food, and then it goes to waste because the rules of just capitalist selling, it says that if you don't sell it, then it goes somewhere else. And that's really the food that we're wasting. And so it's about figuring out a more efficient way to create production, systems of production of food. We actually ended up going 0-3 and walked out of that tournament before the last round because all of the judges just told us they were I don't know what that has to do with me, as a food worker in a casino. What can I do? And I'm listen.
So you guys were like, this tournament or this debate is a sham.
Yeah, no. Well, the problem is the way that people even think about it in the first place. They think that this has nothing to do with you, and that's what's caused nothing to happen about it. Everybody says everybody can be once removed from the problems of farmers who don't sell all of their stock. That is not a problem exclusive of your position. It's just a problem that isn't as visible to you.
If I could do anything I wanted, right? If I had unlimited resources, I could do whatever I wanted. This is how I would try to fix Earth. I would almost kill everyone.
So you'd go Thanos.
I'm not gonna lie.
I would let everyone know that they could die right now. And I have the full ability to. I would let everyone know. I'd say, there's this button right here. If I press it, you are dead, and trust me, I don't give two shits if I press it or not. I'm making it known that I don't care if I die. So everyone, you better appreciate every single goddamn thing you have. If that's basically what I'm just threatening.
So what you're telling me is, if you have all the resources in the world.
Okay, obviously I could just fix the problems, but that's too easy. That's too easy. If I had all the resources, I would just use all the resources to fix every problem. But obviously, we would have done that by now if it were that easy.
True.
I mean, you can't really just put one person in charge and just be all right, food here. The whole world. That's That's 7.6 billion people. Are we almost at 8 billion? What's are we growing?
I don't know.
Are we going to hit 8 bill in our life?
Are we growing or are we showing?
7.674 billion right now. In 2000, it was 6.1 billion. Wow. Yeah, we growing fast.
Billion in 20 years?
As a humanity. But what I think I would like to have everyone know is that if we had an inspector, an off-world third-party alien inspector come in and be like, take a look at the human race. How are we doing? How are we doing right now?
They would like watch one episode of The Masked Singer and be like, these people are fucking crazy. Burn it.
My 700-pound life or whatever. Like,
no, bro. They watched that one clip of The Masked Singer where Kermit the Frog pops out of that motherfucker and everybody goes crazy. And I promise you, our planet is dust.
Like, if the Rick and Morty episode of Show Us What You Got was real, he dies so fast. We're dead.
We put Lil Nas up there and say, do your thing.
Who do we nominate?
At the moment, Lil Nas X and Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia Rodrigo? Is that the girl that made Driver's
License, yeah.
At the moment, that's what we got. At the moment, we have Lil Nas X.
Okay,
yeah.
This may be a hot take. I didn't like that song. I listened to it. I was like, I saw something like months ago. It was like #1 song like in the world. I listened to it. I was like, kind of boring.
I didn't get it. Yeah, I didn't. There's this difference between a #1 song and like just a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can hear the difference between a #1 song and just another song to come out. I didn't get that with Driver's License. Like, I didn't hear like this is not a #1 song to me. I don't know. Like Old Town Road. Old Town Road, that's a #1 song. Like, you can just hear it.
Oh, so what you're saying is Driver's License wasn't traditionally poppy.
I guess. I don't know. There was something about the song that I was just like, I don't know. Usually every #1 song everyone can sort of like, but I don't know. I don't listen to the song.
And this isn't an unpopular take. I've heard this from numerous people. I, for one, really enjoyed that song, and I really enjoyed her whole album that just came out, Sour. It's actually...
That's another hot topic is, like, who was this person before this song? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, we had no idea who this person was. Somehow, they have a #1 song. They're famous now. They have a following.
Olivia Rodrigo was in like High School Musical.
Oh, really?
The series, and
Never mind.
She's been like a child.
I guess
like a child
not specifically her. This is a bad example of what I'm trying to get to, but like there are a lot of people that just show up from nowhere, like they're made to be famous.
You're talking industry plants,
like music labels, Hollywood, like these people,
the deep state,
like the famous people that we see are crafted. Like
some of them, for sure,
they are crafted. Okay, yeah, not all of them, but like I don't know. Like I would say 70% at least are crafted.
Well, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. You know, they don't tell us everything, and
like I guarantee, I don't know. Let's just pick Justin Timberlake. You know,
he's before our time. I feel like
no, he was on SNL and stuff. Damn, I don't know. I don't know what
Timberlake?
I don't know. I don't know what.
He debuted with NSYNC. The boy.
Nav is an industry plant.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to.
That's a good one. Nav probably is an industry plant.
Mm.
Well, I'm wondering also if it's like, if like, so like when we use words like industry plant, like we're almost giving too much credibility to the industry to even be this devious. What if it's a passive sort of operation? What if it's one where like you can sort of be a manufactured product of the industry by simply like engaging the industry in a certain way, right? To make yourself look and craft yourself in a certain way so that you are palatable to, quote, the industry, which then gives you the audience of the world at large.
Oh yeah, there's certainly that on a huge scale.
Mm-hmm.
It even happens in acting and in like I'd say a good example of something like that would be Donald Glover in Community.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell that Atlanta is the type of stuff he wants to do, and it seems like he's always had the mind for.
Yeah.
But he's had to, work his way to get there. He's had to work his way to that. So he has to do a sitcom. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Community. Community is gas.
Okay.
Community is fucking phenomenal, and he's one of the best characters in it. But it's like he's clearly always had this heart for conceptual shit.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just jump straight to that. Sometimes you have to.
That is true. That is true, and it's weird that like sort of like I feel like these more abstract creators are being given much more leeway in this time. Like the Zack Snyder Cut is a great example of it because like for what that movie is, like it is everything that is not mainstream. Like the original cut of that movie is in black and white. It's 4 hours long. It like tells these very like deliberate superhero stories in a way that most people would find to be like boring, uninteresting, like too over involved. The same way that Atlanta kind of gets cast as well for people who don't really give it a chance. I feel like people who I don't actually know anyone who doesn't like Atlanta who's seen it, but
yeah,
if someone were to not like it, they would say, "Oh, this is just absurdity. This is none of this makes sense. There's no like stable grounding for the story, for the plot." And that is the art of it. That is the essence.
Well, and that's what's awesome about Donald Glover and what he's doing is that he wants to do innovative and out there and creative shit. He doesn't want to do normal shit, and that's like reflected in his recent comments where people just ran away with them thinking Donald Glover was so anti-cancel culture, but when he was just actually talking about TV shows getting canceled from the air, not.
Wait, I don't think I saw this.
He tweeted the reason we're not getting like we're getting basic creative shit in on TV and stuff because everyone's afraid of getting canceled. And what he meant was that everyone is afraid of being canceled by their network, by their television network being canceled. But everyone was like, "What, you think you have to be censored to be funny? Da, 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 da. You just need to be funnier." Da, da, da. Yeah, and it's like, okay, so you clearly have never watched a thing with Donald Glover in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's actually really funny because that just shows kind of the pathology of cancel culture, and that it's this very quick jump to conclusions, and jumping to conclusions in every scenario is gonna leave you missing information, which
every time.
Yeah, his last album too is probably an even better example than Atlanta, than like what it would mean like for breaking. I don't even remember the name. Like I think it was some code of numbers that he named that album.
It was like the date he dropped it. It was like 3/15/19 or something. Like
yeah,
that.
Right. Yeah, and that like was a completely blank conceptual landscape, and I think that's represented well in the plain white album cover. But you listen through those songs, you don't remember the songs. You just remember the evolution of the songs. You remember you remember sort of what plays up against one another, the transitions that you hear in the songs, like the different sounds that he uses that are interesting. I'm thinking of I don't know the name of it. I think it was 5348. I want to say, but where it's like in the background, it's like yeah. I like that sound. Like what even is that? I don't know.
There's a song on that that's like straight up like pop, it feels like, where he's like, "Never before, get out the way, I'ma show y'all how to move this, yeah. I'ma show y'all how to move like this. I'ma show y'all how to ooh, ooh. You know, that shit hard as fuck.
That shit's hard as fuck. Yeah.
And it's so different than everything else on that album. Like it's so weird. But speaking of like the transitions and stuff, that brings that always, every time that comes back up, I always think, you know, this is one step past what Tyler did on Igor. You know what I'm saying, in terms of concept. Like Igor, he clearly had an idea and a concept for what his album was, and he did it start to finish, front to back. If you listen to it all in one sitting, it is a perfect meal. You know what I'm saying? And it felt like that's what he was going for with his last album a little bit, except he wanted it to be a little bit more like, what the fuck is he doing? You know? Like he wanted you to think about why he did this and what it was that made him do this and stuff. Like that.
I actually watched a really interesting video from Hip Hop DX the other week about why Tyler the Creator, 50 Cent, and Kanye West are uncancelable. And it was actually a really good analysis about like how like these three artists in particular, like it respects how they've done it in different ways with very different philosophies towards cancel culture and towards their own art. But like they have never, I guess, been afraid to be vulnerable, and they've always kind of been themselves in the public eye. The funniest was if you watch that video, watch it for the 50 Cent segment, because like there are things I didn't know about 50 Cent in there. 50 Cent is a child, you know, like that man is like immature.
Bro, he's earned everything at this point. You get shot 9 times and live, you get to do whatever the fuck you want for the rest of your life.
That's fair.
For my money.
That's fair. 50 Cent said he would take Tekashi 6ix9ine over his own son. Over his own son. Like, and his son responds. And he's like, what's crazy is his son looks just like him. He looks like the Pop Smoke version of 50 Cent. But he's just like, did he just say he'll claim a rat over his son? Oh, yeah, I'm good on that, bro. I'm good.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make, I got to think about it because I had to take a poop. That's why I had to go. It was turtling, so I had to go.
I understand. I get it.
But I had some time to think on the toilet. And it got me thinking, because like the point I was trying to make is like celebrities that we see today, they could be completely crafted from like day one. They could be told what to wear every day, what to tweet, what's everything. Like every aspect of their life could be controlled in some way. Or maybe they're kind of wound up, you know, like a little toy and then they're just set off. Something. Then it got me thinking like, how can we really trust like anything?
Anything.
Like whenever we vote.
This is an important question.
Whenever we vote, how do we know that that's what how do we know?
See,
right?
That's the thing. This question is exactly what fueled the last 4 fucking years. You know what I'm saying?
This like people are waking up, you know?
It's not that people are waking up, it's that people are bigger sheep than they've ever fucking been.
That's true.
At this point.
That's true.
Because they don't know who to listen to, they latch on to someone to listen to and follow them for dear fucking life. That's what happens. Like with QAnon.
Mm-hmm.
That specifically is the exact thing you're talking about. You know, like that person is peddling this bullshit to people, telling you you cannot trust anyone. Don't listen to anything except what I'm telling you.
Yeah. That's harmful.
Well, so
in many
this
ways.
Is actually something that I was thinking of on something that you said earlier, that statistic about how many people are on the earth, which is obviously easily accessible by a quick Google search. It'll tell you 7 point however million or billion. Is that even reliable? Because is any statistic reliable? Because every statistic has a sample size, it has a population, it has like all of these objective sort of distinctions, which mean how many people from the global south are not being counted in these world numbers of global citizens? Like how many people are like, we could very well be at 8 billion already. Like
I would say that, like obviously that's what the census is for. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a lot of approximation in the world population number, just because, I mean, the sheer amount of people that are dying right now and being born at the same time, like, once you get to the millions, like, you have to start approximating. Like, there's just, I guess that's not the point I'm trying to say, is like, that's just a fact, you know, or it's either right or wrong. And like, if it's wrong, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know, like, but.
Well, if it's right, it doesn't matter either, honestly.
That's true. But like, I vote. How do I know my vote is doing anything at all? You know? Like,
it is a faith in your democratic system.
Like, that's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy.
It is instilling a deep faith in your government in general. And but it is a sacrifice that you're gonna have to make. Like,
you can't change it. That's the thing. That is the thing, is that this will always be how humans go until everyone is on equal playing ground. The fact that there has a government and it's existed and we were born into it, there's no way until something big happens and we revolt against the government again, like, nothing will happen until that point.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's exactly what, I mean, the United States has made every concerted effort there is to make sure they can never be toppled. That is what they've done. All they do is do what they can do to continue to exist.
It's kind of insane. Like,
oh yeah,
it's the sheer amount of things that are just out of our control. Like, maybe that's the takeaway from all of it, is that there are going to be stupid ass people, things that you just can't control no matter what you do, you know? So like, honestly, maybe that's what I'd do if I had every resource, or I could telepathically tell a human, you know, tell the whole population something. Just stop giving a shit.
Just cool out for a second.
Honestly,
why do you care if that guy and that other guy get married?
We do, like, we're arguing over the dumbest things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we are arguing over whether someone wants to be called he, him, she, her. Like, does it matter?
Like, let people do what they want.
Are you kidding
Let
me?
People be who they are.
Are you kidding me? We're really talking about that whenever there are people starving to death every day?
But what's crazy about this too is, like, what do you do when, like, once you have this realization that nothing will happen until revolution occurs? What do you even do with that information? Because you look at what the U.S. government does to revolutionaries. Assata Shakur is still exiled in Cuba. Martin Luther King, who wasn't really a revolutionary, I would say, until near the end of his life, and Malcolm X both get killed. They're actually really great. Like probably one of the best documentaries I've seen in a very long time. Who Killed Malcolm X on Netflix. Like, J. Edgar Hoover was like he was trying to subvert the creation of a black messiah, or someone that, like,
that's why J. Edgar Hoover also ordered the death of Fred Hampton.
Of Huey Newton, all of that shit like happens because of a revolutionary impulse, which means, like, you have to realize that, like, once you realize that, like, revolution might be the only way to actually create change, that your life is inevitably in danger at that point. Like, you have to, and your enemy is the government. Despite, you know,
to be a person like that.
And that very fact, the very fact that the only way there will ever be change is by armed revolution, vastly changed my perspective on the Second Amendment. Like,
yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I was like 17 and I was like, fuck yeah, take away all the guns. But then I was like, wait, but then they'll have all the guns. What do we do when they were like, well, we're going to shoot you?
Well, we're gonna shoot. Yo, so me and Kenton did a really cool like social experiment on a different topic in that same debate league, because we were hopping around debate leagues for a while. It was called Social Justice Debate, and the topic was like reparations. And so we wrote this case where we said, give all the military arms to Black and brown people. That's the plan. That's what, like, the United States federal government hands over all of its arms, all of its military weaponry to Black and brown people. The first argument out the gate.
Killmonger in the South.
Yeah. But like, this was like, it was a bait. It was bait to see how people respond. And the first response is always, well, we can't have an all-out war. And we say, well, no, there is no war if you vote for us, because if you vote for us, you hand over all the arms. What is the military going to fight with? They don't have weapons anymore. Why do you think that once the military is out of possession of the most dangerous arms, that somehow people would just decide to go start doing crazy shit? And like, there's a lot of gray area there, but at the same time, that is a jump to make, to say that we're going to have war if the United States military loses its weaponry.
No matter what, okay, if guns are taken away from any one group at all, there is going to be war.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll get to that point, obviously.
Okay, here's what I'll say. If a white guy gets his gun taken away, there will be war. Guaranteed. I can say that as a white guy. I know it will happen. If a white guy from Texas gets his gun taken away, there will be war. That's just how it works. You know, I'm not proud.
I'm not proud.
Like, I'm not proud to be a human, let alone white. So,
fuck white guilt. This is human guilt.
Like, I wish, like, there are so many meteors that could hit Earth. So many. That we know of, you know, any day it could happen. There's really nothing we could do. It'd be awesome. It'd be really awesome. It'd be awesome.
It'd be the last scene from Rogue One.
Imagine. You know what? This is what I do.
Full circle.
There is a meteor coming towards Earth. We know we have a month left. Like, this thing's hitting the Earth. We're dead. With our current technology, there's no way we survive this. It's just out of our control.
Spoiler alert, this was Joe's exclusive scoop on the Patreon exclusive the other day. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, humanity knows it's either we leave Earth, we get somewhere else, we somehow destroy this meteor, or we're dead. Like, this is humanity dead. Like, Earth gone. I would construct a laser so powerful to blow up this meteor and save humanity. Wouldn't tell anybody, obviously. This is all on my own.
You would construct it in the month, right? This is in the month from the time that you have the knowledge that the meteor is coming to the time it hits.
So I'm constructing this laser. I have it. Humanity doesn't know. I'll leave it until, like, the last day. You know, I'll give it. Like,
you're gonna sit on the laser once it's finished. You're gonna be like, let's.
Or no.
Let's kick back for a second.
I'll definitely.
I've earned a break.
I'll definitely announce.
I've been working my ass off for a month.
I would say, humanity, I have the technology to save us. I have it. It's undisclosed. You don't know where it is. It's ready to go whenever I say the word. This meteor's gone. Because of me, and I will save all of you. Realize, I don't have to save any of you. I can let all of you die, along with me and my family. I'm content with that.
Me and my family.
I'm content with that. I realize that I'm a very small fraction of humanity. And I would say, if I get the glimpse of anyone not being grateful for everything they have again, like, I'll use the laser on Earth. Okay? I'll save you guys this time.
Next time I'm turning this bitch around.
Next time, yeah, it's coming at us. Okay? Like, I don't know. It's just people shock me. People shock.
Well, and that's the thing is that the moment you stop being shocked is when you'll go, okay, I'm cool with literally anything happening at this point.
I think
anything happening that will, effectively change things.
I've had a lot of time to reflect on life in general. Just
in all your years.
In all my years, yes, and with health crisis after health crisis. It's a common thought to pop up. Blood pressure, when your blood sugar goes below 30, you usually don't make it. That happened to me twice.
God damn.
I am very lucky. I think I have a good grasp on life and what I appreciate about it.
Mm-hmm.
There are only two things that matter to me at all anymore. Two, and that's friends and family. Literally nothing else matters to me. Like, it's crazy my outlook on everything. Like, I used to give a shit about everything. And if I, if there was an argument against me in any way, I would stop at nothing, to have my case be heard, to, do anything I can. That's just what I used to be. That's like what I lived for, which is just weird. And now I am one of the most brutally honest persons or humans in my life. I truly think that, like, a lot of my friends, like, just it hasn't clicked yet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People.
No, that's the thing, Joe, is that, like, and it's been fascinating watching this transition for you. In the last even 9 months, you've changed a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot.
For people who didn't know me, I used to be the most immature. I still am very immature. That's one of my core values, and I hold it very dear. But I used to be like a child. Like just...
You've underwent a tremendous amount of growth. And it's been a pleasure to watch. And you've continued to surprise me with some of your takes, just because I only knew you in high school through classes mostly. We hung out outside every now and then, but not particularly a ton. I would have called you a friend and such,
of course.
But having heard your all your thoughts the last 9 months,
it's very.
I fucking love this dude.
A lot of them are dark. But that's what science really is when you get to, like, the big level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you got to realize the universe is under no obligation to you at all. A meteor hits Earth, like, it doesn't care. It's just how it is. Like, the universe has no obligation to do anything for us at all.
Which is why people who are overly happy freak me the fuck out and are insanely interesting to me. Because, like, the natural condition, the default position of people is to be is existential anxiety. Because, like, everything else, despite everything that humans can do, they can't do the things that they want most usually.
And even modern day, probably as shitty as it would have been to live in the past at any point, it's probably even more anxiety-inducing modern day than it ever has been.
Exactly.
We have access to everyone's thoughts at all times at our fingertips.
And I actually talked to, what was I doing? I forgot why I even did this. I talked to at length the like school psychologist or whatever at my school because it was some Senate stuff that I was working on. But, like, I just asked her one day, I was like, is there is this like a thing that, like, the academic psychological sciences community is, like, taking note of, which is, like, the stark increase in just, like, mental health issues and, like, their prevalence in, like, mainstream society? Because I think that for a long time, like, the natural condition of the human mind was so pathologize that nobody really studied or tried to indulge themselves in like these like originary feelings of anxiety that everyone deals with, and instead decided to say, oh, if you are weak enough to succumb to voicing this sort of pain, then you belong in an institution, or you belong somewhere outside of society. And so it was your pass into society to have this sort of normal cognition. And yeah, like basically like what she told me was that it's definitely a thing that's been noticed, but social media is a good way, or it has probably influenced that positively, like in a correlative sort of sense, but obviously negatively in a real sense, because like people hop on Instagram and see everything that they're not, but what they want to be, and that's at your fingertips all the time.
I really think like we are one of the first people to be born in a time where technology was not as pronounced as it is today. We are probably the last kids to grow up without an iPad shoved in our face. Like we are among the last people to grow up without the internet, all the time, and how big it is. And I don't think that there are more people depressed and more people anxious today. It's just we are so connected now. We are realizing, holy shit, like everyone has these problems. Like this is a common human trait.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not it is not rare for you to feel anxious or depressed or anything like that.
And having that knowledge probably also, it's a comfort in one way, but it also probably opens your own mind up to the fact that like, oh shit, like that's something I could experience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's a problem on social media that like I feel like there's a little bit of a fetishization. Is that a word?
Fetishization. Fetishization. I keep saying this is
a tough word. But there certainly is a fetishization of depression and anxiety and stuff. It feels like to an extent.
Strange.
Very strange.
Very strange. How that is flipped. That never used to be a thing. Ever. Like, people are claiming that they are depressed and anxious for likes. Think about that. That is where society's come to.
Well, that's obviously the thing too. That like, and that's things that you'll never dismiss. You shouldn't ever dismiss anyone saying things like that.
Exactly. If anything, they're just polluting. They're making the problem even worse. Because
it's like
logically thinking, if you are a person who struggles with any mental disorder, you generally don't talk about it on social media.
Yeah, on the whole, yeah.
Like
there's plenty of people who go to social media to
yeah, I just say anything about me. Like, I don't care. Like, health and all that, like, I've honestly, like, probably the happiest I've been in my life ever. Just as it links up with me being the healthiest I've ever been. My life is finally looking normal. And, like, it got pretty dark. I would never want to be like, hey, I feel super shitty in life right now. I'm going to take a selfie, post on Instagram. I don't like, it just is so weird. You don't know if it's real or not anymore.
Oh, that's what's complicated too, is that like, and because if you're a decent person, you never should dismiss anybody's claims of being sad. You should always take them seriously. So it is a shame that there are people who will abuse that. You know, they'll be like, but on the whole, I like to think that's not most people. And sadly, I like to think that's most people. I like to think that most people are actually sad. You know, like that's kind of a shitty thing to say, but you know what I mean. it's just fascinating. Like I'll see my 11-year-old brother post TikToks on his Snapchat story that are about like depression and anxiety. And I'm like, buddy, you don't know yet.
Y'all got that already?
Yeah, I was like, if y'all got that already, then it's social media's fault, because like we didn't have that.
No, yeah.
I didn't know what that meant.
I didn't have the foresight to even like have like problematic
anxious thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just
enough to be like, holy shit, I'm nervous.
We were just doing shit, like I honestly, I couldn't describe my personality in middle school even. Like, I don't even know if anybody really had a personality.
No.
We were all just kind of a hive mind of children, Like,
the thing about middle school is that it's just a bunch of hormonal monsters who are just trying to survive. Yes. Like, that's all.
Yeah. Basically.
Honestly, like
wow. I remember being an angry little shit in middle school. Like, I wasn't mean, but I was mad. And it was because I was going through puberty. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true. I wish I could go back to those times, being honest. Like, that, everything was just so much more simple, man. Like,
everything was a lot more simple. Holy shit. Yeah, no, and that's been honestly a big source of, like, I think, I've kind of, like, known this. Like, I've read a bunch about it, but academic exploitation through the university is a real thing. Like, in the face of like telling us that, right, we're on this path to creating the means to create a successful lives for ourselves. We are essentially paying to like put ourselves at the whim of whatever college professor to produce however much work it is they think we should, right? And at that point, we become less students that like are trying to like learn or be taught, and we become more producers of knowledge. We become like these people who need to either prove that they can produce valuable knowledge, i.e. publish research, i.e. publish like whatever paper or get whatever like academic award, or else you go into the job force where you produce in a less, I guess, restrictive sense. Or more restrictive sense.
It just feeds into that system. That's
exactly.
what it like. That's what you are bred in. You are bred in producing. Like that's you are producing content and for your teacher, for your boss. You are producing this. You give it to them. They tell you if it was good. If you did good, you move on. And that's literally how it works all throughout life in America.
With COVID, like eliminating like a large majority of that social sort of pressure to complete that work or to be okay with what you're being assigned, I was like finding myself constantly like sitting down on my computer being like, I need to do this or I need to do that, and being like, well, what if I did it? I don't care. Like, I really don't. Like, sure, I might not. I'll turn it in late or whatever. I may not turn it at all. I don't feel like any worse of a human. Like, I feel honestly, arguably like a better human, because I have thought for myself that this is not something that is really helpful for me. Like,
no, and that's the thing. Once you realize that, as long as you're doing what you want, does it what the fuck else matters? It's like, as long as if you are living, and with reasonable means, you're probably happy. You're not probably happy, but you're probably comfortable at least, and it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to stress about this school work that I'm supposed to turn in by Monday.
School honestly might be the worst thing about America today.
Yeah.
It may be the worst thing. I'm not kidding.
I remember being a sophomore in high school and it being Sunday night and me going, I have to start another week of school. And then I'm going to get the weekend again. And then I'm going to start another week of school. And then I'm going to get another weekend again. and I'm going to start another week of school. And I remember thinking about that, and I thought about, I'm going to keep doing this forever. And then I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to go to that during the week. And then I'm going to get a weekend. And then I'm going to go to that for a week. And I was like, holy fuck, that's...
Rick and Morty might have put it best. I think it's in the first episode, too. Was Beth and Jerry are angry that, Rick is keeping Morty out of school. And Rick is like, school's not really a place for smart people. Get a piece of paper to go to the bathroom. You have to ask. You line up. You do weird shit. It's not a place for smart people. Honestly, it kind of keeps you dumb. You're doing the same shit every day, all the time.
That's the thing. It's a training ground.
You're not learning.
It's indoctrinating.
We're not learning in school. We are taught to memorize. You go through the 4th grade. You do your shit that you need to do. After 4th grade, you don't remember anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's I took Calc 3. And it was, I don't remember a single anything from Calc 3. Everything is taught so wrong. It's taught, universities used to be oh, you're the smart dude of the town. You're going to go, we're going to we want you to go to this university so that you can become this good person and be good for society. It used to be wow, you're going to university.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just I have to go to get this piece of paper.
Scholarship to King's College.
I'm just going so I can get a piece of paper so that I can get a job. In my field, engineering, every single time someone has gone on an internship or a co-op, they say the same exact thing every time they come back. And they say, in every single year of my schooling, I have learned more with this company in one day than I have my entire life at school. They say, once you get out there, school does not matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, and this is what gets me, is that as a human race, if we just take a step back and look at our lives and how we live them, we live to maybe be 100. 100's good. That's good. Yeah. And let's say we'll keep it 100 right now, just so it's an easy, good number. We go to school until we're 22. If you go to college for 4 years, that's at least 4 years. 22 years old. That is almost a quarter of your life in prison, basically.
Yeah.
Your prime
no.
is spent in the same building over and over and over.
And your developmental years. And I think that's really important to characterize it like a prison, because if you don't go to school, you're truant, right? You all this stuff happened. Even if I had astronomical numbers of absences this semester. I went to my French class 4 times. Somehow still passed. Don't know.
I haven't taught an online class since February.
And COVID has kind of brought on this massive drop off in attendance because people are realizing hey, I'm not confined to prison anymore. I can just do what I want and not care. But of it's designed.
Every single one of my friends I have talked to has been wait a second. I am so much happier when I'm not worrying about this.
Yes. It's all designed to quell your this is only a word in one or useful in one instance, but your revolutionary impulse. It's all designed to quell your move to be yourself, or your move to freedom, or your move to resist. It's all designed to sort of eliminate those, because that's not productive. That's not going to help you in academia. It's not going to help you in your job field. It's not going to help you when you have a boss to do your own thing, which is I don't know, a sad. It's a quandary. It's a quandary.
The movie and the book, The Giver, gets me thinking a lot. And the thing that gets me is society is blinded to the fact that they're doing a lot of things wrong. They have babies.
They literally cannot see color.
They weigh the babies. They take the heavier one. The lighter baby gets an injection to the brain, gets put in a cardboard box and shoved down a vent. And they don't see that as murder. They don't see it as anything. They just see as this is what we do. The light of baby, they call it like an ascension or something like that.
Yeah.
It's it's just what they do. And they're so blinded that they can't see what they're actually doing, and they're population controlling is what they're doing. And I wonder how many things in our lives are like that. How many things that we do as normal sake that when you really look at it, you're like, oh my God, this is like not good. School is, you have to send kids somewhere.
The structure of school. We need places to learn for sure.
Like obviously running a country, there's no rule book. If it was an easy solution, it'd be done by now. Like obviously we can't just have a third of the population not in school. Like you have to.
By saying if there was an easy solution, it would be solved by now. We're dismissing the fact that there probably are solutions that are accessible, but the people who have been in power have prevented those solutions from being
and I think
executed.
The only thing that is kind of weird and depressing to think about is that, like, at the end of the day, we need dumb people. Like, there are jobs that only dumb people do that we need. Like, it's just the truth. You can either sugarcoat it or you can't. Like, we need garbage truck drivers. Can you imagine?
Hey, don't dismiss the garbage truck community.
I'm not judging them at all. Can you imagine if we didn't have that? Can you imagine what the world would look like?
There's a lot of jobs that have to be done by somebody, and it is fascinating.
But that happens naturally. Yeah. That just happens naturally, you don't have to have school to have that. Like, there will still be dumb people, even if school is a perfect land to be in.
The first thing that I'm thinking is just like, it's all ideological. Like, even our, like, linguistic association of garbage truck driver with someone who is, unintelligent, or someone who, isn't worthy or isn't capable of attaining a more profound job. Like, that's all already couched in our ideological assumptions about what the value of jobs are. And that ideology all stems from capital, from how much money a garbage truck worker makes versus a business owner, or a CEO.
The more money you make, the more merit you are granted in the eyes of people.
See, don't you guys just want to end humanity more and more the more you talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair. And you know what? There's not a better note to wrap up the 2-year anniversary of the Penny Bloom podcast on, frankly.
What a way.
I think this episode has been perfect chaos.
I think so too.
Perfectly defining our 2 years as a podcast.
Oh yeah, no, perfectly defining.
We covered a perfect breadth of topics that sums up perfectly our run of 99 episodes prior. Fuck, it was fun too. So again, this was the Penny Bloom podcast, 100th episode, 2-year anniversary. I am Colton Robertson. I was joined by the OG Tav Pennington. What's up? Dude, thanks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was so happy to have you again. It's been so long.
It was a joy. It's really, back in the game. I had to take a couple weeks off. The last part of that semester there got hectic, but we're back.
I get it. We're back. The summer shall be fun.
Oh yes,
summer shall be fun.
I'm coming home this weekend too.
Oh fuck yeah! I like to hear that. Thank you, Joseph George Jogert.
Thank you for letting me be on here and speak my mind on things that people probably shouldn't listen to. I'm not a really good person to listen to, but thank you for doing it. Thank you for letting me have this.
No, there is certainly a uniqueness to Joe's takes, and I'm not going to lie to you, Joe. It's why you're here.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is what the Penny Bloom podcast is for. It was before we even thought about the possibility of bringing Joseph on. It was already perfect.
I'm the wild card. That's just who I am.
And that's the thing is you never know what we're going to bring to the table is the bottom line. That's been the attitude from the beginning of this podcast. I mean, like we've got an episode titled like Communism, Rick and Morty, Answering the Unanswered, fucking got an episode on TV's Biggest Badasses. Like it's all over the fucking Down with the Patriarch, man. That's an episode title. Long Live the King. Got a few in memoriam episodes.
100 episodes though.
That's something too. A couple of the we covered Kobe Bryant's death, and we covered Chadwick Boseman's death. Those have been like the two big ones since we started recording the podcast.
Yeah.
And, we like days. made a point to get together to talk about that. You know.
Damn.
But yeah,
those were sad indeed.
Those were sad indeed, but we've had, like I said, we've had that breadth of episodes. We've had the happiest of happy. We've had some that get a little dark, like ending on the note that we should just end humanity. But nevertheless, I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for blooming. Remember, peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. Do it.